a pantomime at Eastbourne, and an unexpected appearance. I had greatly admired the variety double act Hinge and Bracket, Dame Hilda Bracket and Dr. Evadne Hinge, created by George Logan and Patrick Fife since I was about 11, seeing them on the good old days and listening to their radio series. Indeed, at school, when writing an essay about who we would most like to meet in person, whilst the rest of the class were writing about sports stars and film personalities, my essay was about this unique double act who were, to my mind, the best in their genre. Needless to say, my school essay was open to much mocking laughter, but guess who had the last laugh in the end? Then, in 1994, I was lucky enough to DSM Murder at the Vicarage, with George Logan putting Evadne's unique spin on Miss Marple. But in 1998, I discovered the ladies were due to play the Wicked Sisters in Cinderella for the Christmas season, 1998 to 1999, at the Devonshire Park Theatre in Eastbourne. Also in the cast was Wendy Craig and a young lad called James McCourt, who has subsequently forged a presenting career for himself, including the National Lottery for quite a time. I had played the Devonshire Park Theatre in 1998 with a production of Paddington Bear. One of our producers told me that she had been approached to be company manager for the panto season, but she was so busy that she didn't think she could make it. I'd done panto every year since 1992, but that year I had no panto. So I asked our producer if she could swing the job for me, but I was contracted for 3 days on her production of Paddington Bear, which overlapped rehearsals for Cinderella. Our producer said she would do what she could do to persuade the production company, and sure enough I had a phone call offering me the job and working around the conflicting dates. Of course I was disappointed not to be performing that year, but work is work, and this was quite a long run, going to the 10th of January, a lot longer than we have today. It also meant I could commute from Brighton. Rehearsal started 2 weeks before opening night, quite a luxury given the limited time we have to do panto these days, and the company were very friendly and a good team, known in those days as Trends. Our director-choreographer was the legendary Ducky Squires, he of the Young Generation Dancers fame. He was fairly insistent on what he wanted for the show, but then you have to be like that with panto, no time to hang around. My only criticism about the show really was that the script was rather slow. Panto needs to be played at a terrific pace. For a start, Hinge and Bracket didn't appear as the sisters until at least half an hour into the show. They opened the show with them both as rival fairy godmothers, vying for the role, until Wendy Craig appeared as Nanny from the TV series and sent them off before asking the audience what character she thought they'd be suitable for. This meant she was able to call them the Wicked Sisters instead of the Ugly Ones, which was far more suitable for them in this production. The costumes and sets for the show were magnificent. Trends, the producers, also produced the show at the Theatre Royal Brighton in those days, and were also costumiers themselves, so everything looked in pristine condition. I think the sisters had 11 costumes in total, not bad as pantos go. I did feel that the sisters should have been on a lot earlier. In any panto, as Roy Hudd always said, get the comics on first and keep the love duets to a minimum. Or you have more kids in the lav than in the audience. The audience had to sit through various renditions of No Matter What and a lot of setting up the plot before Hinge and Bracket actually appeared, which made it a very long show. Almost 3 hours, which is really too long for a panto. George and Patrick had written a lot of material which was very funny, and of course things are added over the course of the run, along with the inevitable ad-libs. Act 1 included the very funny sunbathing sketch leading into a regular Royal Queen, and this was the first and last time I've ever seen Gilbert and Sullivan in pantomime. And Act 1 ended with a ballet in which the two sisters, as classic ballet girls, danced to the music of Swan Lake. Rehearsals were held next to the Devonshire Park Theatre, which made life a lot simpler, and we were able to liaise with the resident stage crew and technicians. The theatre itself is a beautiful Matcham building, similar to Brighton and Richmond, with a lovely atmosphere and very helpful staff. I always enjoy going back there, and always cast my mind back to that first time. The only drawback of the theatre is that the back wall on which all the dressing rooms are situated backs onto an alley, and the whole area is enclosed, making it very hot and stuffy. And the fact that you can hear what is going on in every dressing room if they have their windows open. I did summer rep there for many years, and it was a constant joy being able to talk to the entire company by just opening one's window. However, it also meant that any epidemics of flu and the inevitable coughs and colds that haunt all pantos are more likely to spread. The two dressing rooms on stage level were of course given to Patrick and George, and Patrick asked for various accoutrements to be installed, particularly a couch, and more importantly, some hooks to hang all his jewellery on. I'm afraid I defaced the dressing room in a number of places by driving 6-inch nails into the space above the mirror, eager to please. I think it was only fairly recently that these holes were covered over after 15 years. I went back there in 2009 with Strictly Murder, and bagged a dressing room in the basement, only to find the same couch was behind the door. We opened to good houses and good reviews, and the management of the theatre seemed happy. Bizarrely, all of the principals had understudies in the form of the 4 professional dancers in the company. However, the only 2 without cover were, yes, you've guessed it, George and Patrick. As company manager, I was in charge of rehearsing the understudies at various times. So I took the wise move of having the show recorded from the sound desk so everyone had something to work from and to get the timing right. It was to be the lifesaver in the end. The running of the show was fairly straightforward, usually 2 shows a day and the usual company manager duties, such as keeping the show in order and keeping an eye on the running time to make sure we didn't run over. Even with the cuts, it was still a long show. Patrick liked to make sure everything was in place, just as I do myself when playing Dame. So we made a special effort to make everything easy for them both, holding doors and curtains open for quick changes and ensuring props were personally handed to both him and George. All was going well with the show until the day before Christmas Eve. George asked to see me and asked what proviso had been made for covering him and Patrick in the event of illness. Well, I had to admit that no contingency plan was in place, which was odd considering that the rest of the cast was covered by the male and female dancers, even Wendy Craig. George told me he'd started to feel pretty rough with the flu bug that was going around the company. Now, really, just to put his mind at rest, I said I would look over the script myself, and I was sure that given a day off on Christmas Day, he would soon be fine and manage to struggle on. I must admit I started to pay close attention to the script and blocking from the wings every performance after that, and listening to the recording on the train home. On Christmas Eve, when the cast should have been looking forward to a day off, poor old George told me he felt even worse. I reiterated our contingency, and at the end of the 2 shows that day, I made sure George had my home phone number. I was without a mobile in those days, and I made sure I had a careful note of his and Patrick's. George and Patrick were staying in Eastbourne rather than venturing home, as quite a few of the company were attempting to do. Christmas Day 1998 was a fairly quiet affair at home in Brighton, just Michael and myself. We decided we would go out for a local drink around 7 o'clock, when the fateful phone call came, and thank heavens I was in at home to receive it. George told me he'd been feeling even worse, and with the best will in the world there was no way he'd be fit enough to perform the next day. Now, knowing myself how any performer hates to miss a performance unless at death's door, I knew that a decision had to be made. I told George I would cover for him, and to just concentrate on getting himself well and looking after himself. After we put the phone down, I took a deep breath and rang Patrick, who wasn't at all surprised with what I had to tell him. I knew it was serious when he told me that after all these years together, George was very rarely ill. He calmly agreed that it was the only way out of our dilemma and set about deciding what we could cut or adjust to get us through the show. Understandably, the opening scene with the 2 of them in Fairyland was cut, and the show would then start with Wendy and the children. A regular royal queen was put in for both of them after the sunbathing scene in Act 1, as that was one of their set pieces, but it was decided to cut that too. Even though I can do the number in my sleep, the rest of the show would be more or less as written, but Patrick asked if he could make an announcement before the show explaining Dr. Hinge's indisposition and why a man was taking over the role. Patrick also advised against any impersonation. Well, he must have had an inkling. Patrick's final words that night were, "Don't worry, I'll get you through it. which I thought was a very generous and kind thing to say. Even though I was excited about going on, I was also very nervous at not having any rehearsal. For the next few hours, I just ran through the show in my office at home with the tape, getting the moves right and checking I knew the script. Fortunately, I was getting a lift over to Eastbourne the following day with one of the chaperones, and I made sure I did as much preparation beforehand, makeup-wise, as I could. I knew we would be very pushed for time, and I still had to learn the ballet, the traffic warden's routine, and try all the costumes on. Now, mercifully, the costumes fitted okay. We had good dressers, and even though George is a lot taller than myself, I had invested in taller heels for cabaret, which balanced things out. Well, just. As soon as the dancers arrived, I collared them for a rehearsal of the ballet and the traffic wardens, which was relatively simple. Then it was a case of just rushing around the whole cast and checking bits and pieces with them, but it was impossible to have a full rehearsal with such limited time. We still had to get my stage management jobs covered by the stage crew. By the time the half-hour call was given, we'd covered as much as was humanly possible. I retired to George's dressing room, quickly made up, and tried to keep calm. It's bad enough having to go on for somebody because you invariably get a groan or tut of disappointment from the audience, but in this case, with no rehearsal for the majority of the show, anything was possible. I knew we'd get through it somehow, and that was about it. Wendy Craig popped her head round the door on the quarter-hour call and said, "Don't worry, I've said a little prayer for you." A very kind and generous lady. As the sisters' first entrance was now about half an hour into the show, it was a long time to wait. I heard Patrick's announcement over the tannoy. There didn't seem to be too many groans from the audience.
"Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Could I have your attention for a brief moment, please? This is Dame Hilda Brackett, and I'm afraid I have to announce to you all this evening my colleague, Dr. Hinge, has succumbed to the flu. Unfortunately, she won't be appearing this evening, but the management have come up with a wonderful replacement in Mr. David Rumelle, who will be playing the role of the evil Sister Hernia. So for me, it'll be quite an experience doing it with a man on stage, you see. However, enjoy yourselves very much this evening with a lovely production of Cinderella, and may I wish you all a very happy new year, and God bless. On with the show."
And so it was time to make that first entrance. Yes, I said the prayer before going on. As soon as I stepped on the stage, I felt safe. Adrenaline is the body's natural drug, and my advice is to use those nerves in a positive way, never fight them, but use that energy. It's there to help. Considering Patrick and I had never rehearsed whatsoever, and looking back in hindsight, I should have done at least a line run with him, it was pretty much as per. Yes, my positioning was a bit out on that first performance when the rest of the company came on in that opening scene, but they adapted, shunted me around, and made me feel okay. The duet, Anything You Can Do, went pretty okay. I missed one line, but Patrick's razor-sharp brain picked up the cue in an instant.
A dump.
Is this Hellgate?
It is indeed, sister, and as I say, what a dump.
Yes. So this is Hardap Hall, eh? I must say I expected something grander.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, no wonder Baron Hardup is so keen to get his hands on our money.
Quite.
Take an absolute fortune to get this place to rights.
Yes, how lucky we are, sister, that I have a fortune to spend on it. Oh, what a pity boring old Humphrey comes into the package. Mind you, I can sort him out. I can just see myself now. Baroness Hernia of Hardap Hall.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, little worm-eaten, prune-faced sister of mine, but the Baron will obviously choose me, my dear. Don't forget, I have just as much money as you have. Well, more, in fact. Because this morning, which I think has slipped your mind, when we were in Hailsham, you spent 99 pence on a jar of vanishing cream. And what a waste of money that was. It didn't even work.
It did.
It did not. You're still here.
And how about you, my lovely one, wasting all those 20p's on that speak your weight machine?
I was just checking to see my diet was working.
Yes, and what did it say? Only one person on the scales at a time, please.
Well, I happen to know that Baron Humphrey prefers a girl with a curvaceous figure. And he says my skin is like peaches and cream.
Yeah, it's more like prunes and custard.
Well, it's better than having a face like an old car tire. And as for your figure, it's like a piece of string with 2 knots in it.
I'll have you know I have the figure of a girl of 18.
Well, it's time you gave it back to us, sister. You're getting it all wrinkled.
I used to model for Chanel.
Oh, yes, we all know about that. The Chanel tunnel. Yes. Of course, I use Chanel myself.
Oh, really, dear? You should try the body shop. You'll find exactly what you need there.
Oh, what's that, sister?
A new body.
Careful, sister. Don't get overexcited, because you know what'll happen. You'll bring on one of your turns. Then I'll have to tie you up and strap you down. Oh, you like that, don't you? Yes, I've forgotten that. Hello, beauteous one. At least I'm faithful to me. Do you know, isn't it funny? It's strange how one sister has all the looks and all the brains.
Yes, I am lucky, aren't I?
Ooh. Oh, sister. Oh, sister, look, people.
Oh, look, sister.
People.
Men.
Oh, yes.
Hello, Daddy.
Oh, yes.
Want a naughty girl?
Oh, yes.
One over there.
Hello, dear. Are you doing anything later? No? Very well, you are now. And, oh...
What's the matter, sister? Have you got your spare tire in your corset again?
Nothing so exciting, sister. Look, there. Children!
Oh,
Horrible, hateful, loathsome children. Oh, I loathe children.
Simply vile.
I absolutely hate them. Hate!
And 3 hates at 24.
Oh. It's a particularly nasty model down here.
Yes.
Oh, it's blue with a tin mouth. So
Yes.
horrible.
What's he got on his lap, dear?
Well, I'm not quite sure, but it won't live.
No.
Oh, it's very nasty, but oh dear, horrible spotty faces and dirty necks and ears.
Yes, nasty scabby knees, nasty runny noses.
Oh, shut up. Silly, horrible floppy ribbons and stupid dresses.
Yes, and the girls are just as
Oh,
bad.
I know. But you know, Baron Humphrey never said anything about there being any children here.
Quite.
Had I known, my dear, I would never have come here.
No.
Just wait until I see him. I'll have something to
Come along,
say.
Here he
Cinderella,
comes now.
there we are. Oh, just wait down here. Ah, ladies, there you are. I do hope that the journey was agreeable.
No, it was not. How dare you send that shriveled-up, worm-eaten old thing called a carriage? Stand still while I'm insulting you. And pull yourself up to your full 3 feet. Now, yes, indeed. Call that a carriage? By Jove, you've not lived, have you? I was tossed thither and yon and thither and back again twice round the daisies. And what happened when we were coming through Upper Dicker? Not what you'd have thought, no. We had a flat tire, no less, and their wooden wheels. And then, in Pevensey Bay, a parking ticket. And then as we came through the crumbles, she's sick all down her blouse. Look, you can still see the stains on her shantung there. Look, you see. Bing. Yes. And that was your own fault, sister.
It wasn't my fault, dear, at all.
You insisted on having the all-day American breakfast of the little chef.
Yes.
You are supposed to leave the paper plate and the plastic knives and forks.
Sorry, dear.
Yes, the whole journey was a disaster.
A disaster.
And then we arrive here, stand still. We arrive here. Wish you'd grow into that suit. We get here. Yes, we get here, and what do we see? Horrible children!
Children?
Horrible children!
But ladies, you told me that you liked children. In fact, you led me to believe that possibly one day...
Wash your mouth out. This is a disgusting suggestion.
Not to mention a medical impossibility.
But I did tell you that I already had a daughter. This is my lovely little Cinderella. Everybody meet the Lady Veruca well off and the Lady Hernia well off.
Ladies, what a pleasure to meet you.
Pardon the after, dear. We find your costume rather amusing.
Oh, no one told us it was fancy dress.
No. Isn't it sad, sister? The daughter of a baron dressing like that.
What?
But you know who she reminds me of.
Who, dear?
Dirty Gertie from number 30.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Oxfam having a sale, were they?
Hey-oh!
Hey, it's Wallace and Gromit.
And who is this spotty youth?
This is Buttons.
Belly buttons, more like.
Where I come from, that's fighting talk.
Then why aren't you fighting, bully lad?
Because I don't live there anymore.
No?
By the way, I've had elocution lessons.
Who from, Gaza? Well, you want your money back. You want to get back on the motorway and get your bread butter and be good?
Sister dear.
That's told him,
Yes. Sister, what are we going to do with those two?
Oh, don't worry, Hernia, dear. Everything will be fine when I become Baroness of Hardup Hall.
Ah, no, you've got that quite wrong. I shall be Baroness Hernia.
No, dear, no. I am going to be the Baroness.
I
now,
shall be the
Humphrey,
Baroness.
dear, explain. How about you and I getting married? You'll see. Just explain, dear.
You see, Humphrey, darling, you see what a tyrant she is.
Pull your
You see
coat up,
how she would
that's
bully
it.
you, whereas I will pamper you, cosset you, come to do for you.
Ladies, please now. Now all these matters can be settled at a later date. In the meantime, I suggest that we go into Hardup Hall, have a lovely cup of tea, and you ladies can unpack and settle down.
Do you know, Humphrey, that's a lovely idea. I'd like to go and have a delicious cup of tea. Yes, I really would. And you, girl, Umbrella, whatever they call you, take our things inside at once. Are you deaf, girl? I said at once.
You leave Cinderella alone.
And as for you, Bottoms or Bosoms or whatever your name is, yes, quite. Take that scruffy thing down to the car wash and give her a good bath. Whoosh, whoosh, wax and polish too.
And was Simonized.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. And, you know, sister, life can be so cruel, can't it?
True.
I mean, being plain is one thing, but poor as well. Well, that's really...
Now, just a minute, you two.
Now, calm down, Buttons, calm down. I'm sure it's just the ladies are a little overtired from their journey.
And you can stop that for a start. That child is far too old to be cuddled.
Indeed, yes. And remember this, Humphrey Bostock Hardup. Just remember this, that without my money...
Or my money.
Hardup Hall will return to the hands of the bailiffs, Kristen By and Son. And you and your shabby little daughter there will be out on the street. So I think you had better decide to do exactly as my sister Hornier and I tell you. I do hope I make myself crystal clear.
Right, Buttons, take the bags into the hall.
Don't even think about it. Go on, move! Get a move on, little blue creature. Broken my bones now.
That's it, yes. You've got your work cut out for tomorrow now, haven't you? Yes, you thought it was a day off.
Yes.
Now look, dear. Now look, that's one problem out of the way. But the second one we have to solve quite quickly. Which of us marries the Baron?
Well, of course it'll be me, dear. I saw him first.
Ah, but you didn't have your glasses on. You thought it was Peter Mandelson.
He saw me and he fell at my feet.
That sounds like Peter Mandelson, you know. Bit of a creep. No, dear, it is definitely me. I am Baroness material.
Tosh. Tosh and Balderdash.
How dare you? I dance better than you do. Sometimes I even sing better than you do. And I always look better than you do.
You lie more than I do.
In fact, anything you can know.
I can do better.
Why?
Anything you can say, I can say quicker. I can say anything quicker than you.
You can't.
Yes, I can.
You can't.
Yes, I can.
You can't.
Yes, I
You
can.
can't.
I
You can't. I can jump a hurdle.
I can wear a girdle.
I can knit a sweater.
I can fill it better.
I can do most anything.
Can you make a pie?
No.
Neither can I.
Oh, anything you can wear, I can wear better. In what you wear, I look better than you.
In my blouse?
In your dress.
In my shirt?
In your pants.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
I can drink my liquor faster than a flicker.
I can drink it quicker and get even sicker.
I can open any safe.
And then you get caught.
Oh, yes.
That's what I thought. Any note you can sing, I can sing higher. I can sing any note higher than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
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 I can tame a dragon even with a fagon.
I can tame a lion without even trying.
I can turn a big strong man to a very small rat.
And if you can do that,
Anything you can sing, I can sing sweeter. I can sing anything sweeter than you.
no, you.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
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 Yes, I can.
I think that's the ferry coming in from Peacehaven.
In a trice, the first scene was over, and on to the first costume change. Anyone who's ever done quick changes as an actor, or has done dressing in the theatre themselves, will know what I mean when I say that a good dresser is essential. They take the stress out of your job, but you must trust them totally, never panic, and let them do it their way. They are your saviours. On to the sunbathing scene, without mishap.
Oh, I do like to be beside my sister. Oh, I do like to be with honey. Oh, what a lovely day, sister.
Isn't it, dear?
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't it lovely? Yes.
Yeah.
You know, the birds are flying high and whoop. Now, dear, how about taking in a little of this bracing winter sunshine?
Quite. Don't you think we ought to check first, dear?
Check for what, dear?
Men.
Oh, yes.
You see, there are certain types of men who like to hang around bushes and spy on unclad nubile maidens like ourselves.
So there are.
Yes.
Yes. You mean like the ones that I encountered in the meads?
The Meads, dear.
Yes. Oh, I'll never forget that experience if I live to be normal. Oh, my dear, it was terrible. This man came up to me, well, it was about there, and I actually snapped his sausage roll. And he said, do you know your blouse is torn down the front? I said, no, but if you whistle it, I'm sure I'll sing it, you know. And he said, I do hope you're not going to charge me. I said, good heavens, no, I shall come at a gentle trot. Anyway, now,
Let us check, dear.
should we have a check here?
I think so.
You take that side, I'll take this side. One,
1, 2, 3.
Not a sign of one anywhere.
That's all right, dear. We can always come back tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
Now, where are we?
Oh, yes, there we are. Sister, what are you doing down there?
Getting up, dear.
Oh, dear, I suppose you're going
accident.
to say it was an accident.
It was
I
an
thought so,
accident, dear,
yes.
yes.
You're an accident, you mean. Accident waiting to happen.
Oh, I see. Look,
Yeah.
it's one of those.
One of those what, dear?
Men.
Oh,
Hello,
heavens,
cheeky.
yes. Hello,
Yes.
hello.
Very nice, yes.
I can't see anybody.
Oh, he's gone now, dear. It's all right.
Oh, was he doing anything?
Well, yes, dear. He was showing me the lining of his raincoat.
Oh, there. Showing you the lining of his raincoat?
Yes, dear.
Are you sure that's all he was showing you?
Well, it must have been, dear. He didn't have anything else on.
Oh, well, yes. Oh, by the way, honey, when you were out shopping this morning, did you remember to get my Viagra tablets, dear?
Viagra tablet.
The ones I use in the washing machine.
Oh, the washing machine, yes. Did they get the washing any cleaner?
No, but it saves you having to iron anything. But, oh, there's another one over there. Looks quite a healthy specimen, this one. Hello!
Yes.
He's rather nice. this
Yes,
one,
very
isn't he?
nice, yes.
Hello! Nice out today. Never mind, maybe tomorrow. Nasty cough, you want your chest rubbing, I think, yes.
Forgive the intrusion, ladies.
Oh!
I'm
Damn.
looking for Hardup Hall.
Hardup Hall? Never heard of him. I remember Henry Hall.
Out of the way, stupid woman. Forgive my sister, sir. She's not the full shilling. These are the grounds of Hardup Hall, ancestral home of Baron Hardup, my fiancée. I am his intended, Lady Veruca Welloff.
Not at all. It is I, the Lady Hernia Welloff, who will marry the
Oh, don't
Baron.
be silly, dear. Of course it isn't you, it's me he's going to marry.
I am
Ridiculous.
Dandini, valet to His Royal Highness the Prince William.
Do you mean the blonde one with the...
His Highness is planning a grand ball for New Year's Eve, and it is expected that he shall choose a bride from among the assembled guests.
He won't have far to look, dear.
It's my task
Yeah.
to deliver the invitations.
Mr. Deany, or shall I call you Dan? My sister and I will be pleased to accept.
I'm afraid that only unmarried ladies are invited. Didn't I hear you say that one of you is already engaged to the Baron?
Yes,
yes,
yes.
Nothing's been
Tomorrow,
decided.
tomorrow, yes.
Very well, ladies. Here are your invitations.
Yeah.
We shall look forward to seeing you at the Royal Ball.
Oh, yes, I'll be there. I can't say
Goodbye.
about my sister, but
Goodbye.
I'll be there, dear.
Do with some more of that, dear. Oh, I say.
Honey, really, such familiarity with a mere servant. You forget yourself, you really do. I just wish I could forget you.
Just think about it, sister. What a glorious prospect. An unmarried prince. A court ball. Oh, what an exciting prospect.
Sister, I do hope you're not thinking what I think you're thinking. I thought you were. Now look, dear, there's one prince and there's two of us. I'm going to make the biggest sacrifice of my life so far. I'm going to give you the baron.
They want the Rumelle baron.
You're getting it,
I
but
don't
you
want the Rumelle baron.
I
I
am
want
marrying the prince.
Over my dead body.
If necessary. Now get yourself gone.
Then the scene before the ball, when the sisters make Cinders tear up her invitation. My dear friend Nigel Ellicott, one half of the greatest sister act in the country, always said to focus on Cinders during that scene and stay motionless so the focus is on her. That is her moment. I tried to follow that advice implicitly.
Cinderella, there you are. The wolves are restless tonight. Now, Cinderella, I do hope you're enjoying yourself with all these menial tasks I set you. Good, lovely to see you happy, dear child. You know, we're so looking forward to going to the ball tonight, aren't we, honey?
Oh, indeed we are, dear, yes. It's Big Bird. A chance to meet mixed with people of our own class, sister.
Indeed, sister dear. Yes, a chance to get away from the hoi polloi. Cinderella, child, tell me, did you receive an invitation to the prince's ball?
Oh, yes.
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 Oh, me, no.
Well, which is it, yes or no?
Did you receive an invitation?
Yes.
Oh, sister, I wonder what His Royal Highness would make of a common little kitchen wench at his ball.
Right.
What do you think?
I think he must have made a mistake, sister, don't you?
Oh, definitely. And not just a common little kitchen wench, but an ugly one, too.
Oh, sister. Yes, you're quite right, quite right. Unkind, sister, unkind. She may be a kitchen wench, but don't they always say true beauty comes from within?
They do indeed, sister, in which case perhaps we should turn her inside out. Now, Cinderella, come along, darling child. Tell Auntie Veruca, where is your invitation?
I can't remember where I've put it.
Oh, careless.
You mean you've lost it?
No, I've just put it somewhere safe.
Oh. Well, where is it?
Come along, child. We haven't got all night.
I'm not telling you.
Not telling us, sister.
Sister, did you hear that? She's not telling us where it is.
Well, oh, you're so dreary. We'll just have to find it for ourselves.
We
then,
will
won't we?
indeed, honey, yes.
And I'm sure the boys and girls are going to help us, aren't
Of course they are.
There we are, I knew they
Thank
would.
you. Now, I tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to look all around the kitchen here. And when I get near to the invitation, I want you to shout, hot.
And if we're nowhere near it, we want you to shout cold. Will you do that for us?
Thank you.
How obliging.
Thank you very much.
Off
You're
we go,
very
sister.
kind. Lovely. Here we go.
Now,
1,
where
2,
should we
3.
look? Table. Under the saucepan. Calendar. Oh, the piggy bank. In the bucket. Yes.
Oh, dear. Now, what have we here?
Oh, look, sister, it's a tatty old newspaper.
So it is, sister, yes. And what did I tell you, Cinderella? I said to you, all tatty old newspapers should be torn to shreds, didn't I?
Oh, please don't make me tear it up.
Why ever not?
It's only a tatty old newspaper, child.
Yes, but
Tear it up, Cinderella. What now?
Come along, child. Tear it
In
up. Small
half, my
pieces.
dear,
Come on.
that's it.
Very small. Come along, girl. Come along. Tear it up.
Quarters. Thirds. Eighths. Give it some weather.
Oh, sister, look at that. A little snowstorm. Isn't that pretty? And our own little munchkin paperweight.
Oh, just one last thing, Cinderella. While my sister and myself were in your room, guess what we found?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That old ball gown, you mean? Yeah.
And you know what we did with it?
Yes.
Tell her, sister.
Shall
go on.
I?
Yes.
We gave it to H. Concern. Wasn't that sweet of us?
So generous.
You see? We're very kind like that, you see. We consider all the old folk, because we'll be that age one day ourselves, possibly.
Well, sister.
Yes. Well, sister, I think it's time we went to the ball, don't you?
Quite.
Don't you just love being in control?
So, on to the ballet at the end of Act 1. Mercifully, we had two excellent dancers, Stephen McGlynn, who ended up in Mamma Mia, and Simon Breen, who became the longest-serving member of the Chicago Company in the West End. Simon was from the West Midlands, and Patrick took great pleasure in imitating his accent. A few dodgy dance steps from yours truly, but we got there, and thus ended Act 1. I retired to the dressing room for a much-needed cup of coffee. I am one of those actors who cannot stay still when I'm working, and like to be in costume for the next entrance ASAP. Nowadays, as I supply my own costumes, I call the shots. I was anxious to get into the next costume and draw my breath, but the dressers, quite rightly so, followed their usual routine and brought the costume to me 10 minutes before the entrance, as the dressing rooms were far too small to accommodate all the costumes. The opening to Act 2 was set outside the palace and ends with a cod dance from the principals to hoodwink Dandini into letting them into the ball. It culminated in a chain, one of those dance routines that is far easier to do rather than explain. After years of doing them, it just happens. I seem to remember on that first performance that it didn't quite pay off, but I was shunted off stage right rapidly for yet another quick change.
Giving a ball, the prince is giving a ball. Ah, there you are, choochie face. Come here. Now this isn't very nice, is it? Running away from your beloved Hernia. Oh, do you know, I'm so looking forward to the prince's ball. So innocent, so romantic, so Ivan-Avelli. Now tell me, Baron, without fear or candour, am I not quite the most irresistible creature you've ever set eyes upon?
Well,
I can tell you're stuck for words.
yes.
We'll just have to ask the boys and girls, won't we? Yes. Haven't asked you yet. Am I not quite, boys and girls, the most irresistible creature you've ever seen? Who asked you? No, put my teeth back. Miserable lot of Eastbourne peasants. Yes. Oh, there may be trouble ahead. Just you wait until I marry the prince. There'll be some changes around here, let me tell you. I've a good idea to send my wicked sister Veruca on you. Veruca, dear. Veruca, are you there?
Do you believe in life after love? There you are, my little chutchy face. Hello. Quivering with expectancy. It's almost as though we've never finished, isn't it? I know. Did we?
No.
Oh, right. But am I not the most luxuriously quaint, beautiful, effervescent creature you've ever set eyes on? Right. I won't forget this in a hurry. Now, wait till I'm a princess. There'll be changes made round here. I know. I shall close the Cavendish down. I shall make big changes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. When the prince sees me, he will propose instantly.
Yes, to me.
Ridiculous to me, he will propose.
Ladies, please remember where we are.
Where are we?
Outside the palace.
Well, let's go inside the
No,
palace.
not for a moment, not just for a moment, because I have the most wonderful surprise for you.
I hope it's better than last night. That was very disappointing.
Oh. Cinderella will be arriving at any moment.
No, I don't think so, Baron.
No, you see, she felt she just wouldn't fit
Yes,
in.
and you see, worse, Peleus upon us. She lost her invitation.
Isn't that sad?
Yes.
It's very sad, that, isn't it? And you know what they say, no invitation,
No ball.
Right, then I am not going either.
Oh, yes, you are. Come here and have your chest. Come here, let me rub your chest and find your pocket watch.
Hello, Cheeky. Do you have a title?
I am the Major Domo.
Oh, dear, he's a major, yes. Of course, I used to be a colonel's daughter, you know.
Yes, and now look at you, just the officer's mess. I love that line.
May I have your invitations, ladies, please? No invitation, no ball.
Now, sweet little rattle-faced sister of mine, give the gentlemen our invitations to the ball.
I know, Veruca, darling, you had them last.
I did not, you rotten,
No, certainly did. Don't you start on me,
You're
woman.
lucky you
You had them.
you had
The Baron had them.
I haven't seen them.
You most certainly
No, sunshine, down there, just there, yes, about there, that's it, yes, there we are, all right, now, I have a wee surprisette for you. It's not a slow, no, it's not one of those, it's one of these. Now, I'm going to pop that in there, there we are, it's warm that. Now, I think it is essential you present me immediately to His Royal Highness. I want him to come to one of my candlelight suppers. And I am the Juliet to his Romeo, you know.
I don't care if you're the Marx to his Spencer. No invitation, no ball.
Sure?
Oh, well. Leave it to me, dear. I've got to touch. Now, look. I can tell you're very good, very cheap, and very grateful. Now, I really must see the prince. I just know tonight he will kiss me under the mistletoe.
He would kiss you under chloroform. No invitation, no ball.
Just that way, just a moment.
And we will do little things ago.
Yes, well, we'll just have to dance out here then.
No invitation, no ball.
More dancing into the ballroom scene, with Hilda and the prince, and the classic lines, "Tell me, Princekins, do you reverse?" "Prince, reverse? No." "Oh, what a pity, you're unscrewing her wooden leg."
The Lady Hernia, well. So, this is what the royal palace looks like. More like the Arndale Centre with a coat of paint. Major Domo, present me to His Royal Highness at once.
My lady, may I present His Royal Highness, Prince William?
But I thought,
The Lady Hernia, well off.
Enchanted, fair lady.
what a tasty young man. What a pity I'm on a diet. Say, Princekins, how about you and I having a little bite after the ball?
I'm afraid I'm busy after the ball.
That's all right, I'll bite you now. Fear not, dear prince, your days of loneliness are at an end. I am your chosen one.
Ask the lady to dance, then, your highness.
Forgive me. Where are my manners? Would you care to dance?
You come here often. Tell me, Princekins, do you reverse?
Reverse? No.
Oh, what a pity, because you're unscrewing her wooden leg.
Then on to a very quick succession of changes for the morning after the ball. The sisters were sat at the kitchen table in housecoats, suffering from hangovers, complete with ice packs and smelling salts. Various letters arrive at the front door, usually delivered offstage by myself, telling them that their investments have crashed, hence them both having to get into their finery for the slipper fitting. For the slipper fitting, and absolutely fabulous, being at the height of its popularity, the sisters turn up as Patsy and Adina, complete with Bollinger bottle and Harvey Nichols bag. Can you believe Harvey Nichols wouldn't even supply us with one of their bags for free advertising unless we bought something?
Let all the maidens of the house stand forth.
Out of the way, sweetie. We're here and we're feeling absolutely fabulous, sweetie.
What about Cinderella, Baron? She must try the slipper on.
Cinderella couldn't come right now. She's tied up.
Yes,
sweetie.
she's tied up, sweetie. How glad I am for my girl guide training, sister.
And now, to try the slipper.
Yes, me first.
Please, ladies, everyone shall have their turn.
Me first. Thank you. Oh, look! A mouse! There we are! It fits. My prince, at last.
No cheating, madam.
Sister, how could you? Well, I can't think of words worse. I can't think of the worst thing to say to you. You've left me absolutely speechless. My turn, I think. Now, go very easy with my dainty little tootsie, darling, because I've got very pretty dainty tootsies. Oh, no. It fits. It fits. I know it fits. Oh, my prince.
Your Highness, it does.
You're mine forever, darling.
I don't think so.
Oh, I couldn't get my foot into the crystal slipper.
You couldn't get your foot into the Crystal Palace!
It appears that my search for a bride must continue elsewhere.
Just one moment, sire. My daughter must try the slipper.
Your daughter?
Yes, my daughter, Cinderella.
Cinderella?
Yes, Cinderella. Come on, Cinders. Come and try this slipper on. It's for the prince.
The slipper sits.
He means the slipper fits!
My princess.
My friend,
My daughter.
My Cinders.
My goodness!
my dear fairy godmother, I owe all my happiness to you.
All part of the service, my dear. Now, you two ladies,
Yes, dear.
and I use the term loosely,
Please forgive us.
Yes, I'm afraid in the past we've acted pretty badly.
You're not exactly giving an Oscar-winning performance now.
But we promise to change our ways in the future.
If we have a future, after all, look at us.
No thanks, I've just eaten.
No home, no husband, no money, no future.
What are we going to do?
well, that's easy. Get yourselves a job.
A job?
You mean like work?
Yes, a job. It's high time you became useful members of society.
But my good fairy, what could we do? I mean, it's not going to be easy getting work at her age.
I mean, something that suits our personalities.
Well, I'm sure we could find you something appropriate. As a matter of fact, only today, I was speaking to Councillor Healy.
Councillor Healy?
The mayor.
Oh,
Beryl.
Yes.
And she was saying that there were 2 jobs going for council workers.
Oh, that'll be me. I'm all right on a desk, you know.
I'm Fabby in the typing pool.
Yes, well, off you go to the job centre.
That's a job centre.
Go.
Yes, go.
Coming with sister. You coming?
Sister, big finish, dear. Big finish.
Off you go. Come along now.
Then another quick change into the traffic warden's costumes. Patrick had rewritten a lovely comedy number from Rio Rita and called it Meter Maids. The idea was that the sisters were now being paid to be horrible to the public by becoming traffic wardens. My coordination with the rest of the chorus got a little bit out of sync at this point. Whatever way they seemed to move, I went the other. It was only afterwards I realised I'd taken advice from the dancer who was following Hilda's steps rather than Dr. Hinge's, and each side was supposed to be in opposition. Ah well, I smiled broadly and put on a brave face and let comedy take its course.
All pals together, comrades, birds of a feather, rooting bells, shooting bells, shooting bells, shooting bells, in rain or sunshine, we stand for lawyer, that's what we're for here, and when we're about to hear a shout, you better walk out of the traffic warden, Eastbourne way.
When a fella's in his car upon a Friday near a bar,
He's in his heyday because it's payday.
he's so keen to have a pint of lager that he'd ride right past.
These are the glories, the multi-stories.
So when we see his banger on a double yellow line,
'Tis then he'll get a ticket and a great big fine. A great big fine. Yes!
we're
All pals together, comrades, birds of a feather, rooting bells, shooting bells, shooting bells, shooting bells, In rain or sunshine, we stand for law here. That's what we're for here. So when we're about to hear a shot, you better watch out for the traffic warden's Eastbourne-with. You're a traffic warden now. You're a traffic warden now. But you'll never get rich on the salary with yours.
Yeah?
The council pays you now.
There, say something, your turn, John. Make it profound.
For the girls are wildflowers.
Yes, very good, very good, yes.
No, the boys are like the bumblebee.
I do love this lot, you know, being paid to be nasty.
It's wonderful getting paid for being nasty to the public, it really is. I feel I'm getting something back, you know. Mind you, if one was in poverty, No, I was in Chandler's Road today. Chappie came along and I said, this is a one-way street. He said, I'm only going one way. I said, it's the wrong way. Didn't you see the arrows? He said, I didn't even see the Indians.
We're all pals together, comrades, birds of a feather. Rooty pals, shooty pals, shooty pals, shooty pals. In rain or sunshine, we stand for law here. That's what we're for here. So when we're about to hear a shot, we better watch out for the traffic warden. Eastbourne-with.
Then all of a sudden, that first performance was over. Into the red and silver walk-down frocks, and the parade down the stairs at the back with Hilda, to be met not just with applause from the audience, but to my surprise, the entire company, which was a very, very generous gesture on their part, and one I haven't seen too often in the theatre over all these years. That first show had gone by in a dream, well, almost, proving the old adage, technique will always see one through. We had quite a gap between the shows that day, being Boxing Day, so Paul, the DSM, took me out for a much-needed pint, just the one, next door. The errors from the matinee were rectified for the evening, which went more or less without a hitch. I got home that night exhausted but on cloud 9. The following morning I rang George to see how he was, and he asked if I could cover 2 more performances, which I was delighted to do. The production secretary from Trends came over to watch the first show, proving very useful later, and later I had a knock on the door after the matinee, and there was a gentleman, Mark Burgess, ex-Brookside from Brighton, with whom I'd done my first ever job. He'd been in the audience with his family, and when he heard Hilda's announcement, he was first of all disappointed, and then delighted when he heard I'd be playing the role. The matinee sadly had to have some cuts made because the shows were virtually back-to-back, so the sunbathing and traffic warden scenes were cut, so the cast and crew had a reasonable break. But on to my final performance in Dr. Hinge's shoes. Well, mine actually, but you get the point. I made sure that performance was recorded from the sound desk. In those days we were using cassettes to record from the desk, which was a pity because it misses out part of anything you can do when the tape's turned over. But never mind. The theatre were wonderful and arranged the house seats for my partner, our dear friend Courtney, and Shirley the producer, who'd swung the job for me in the first place, so I had an added buzz for that final show. If you listen carefully to the recording, there are some classic moments, particularly as I was getting more confident as each show went on. I hope I didn't become too confident, and there are several ad-libs between us both, unscripted, particularly in the opening scene. The most memorable ad-libs came in the scene set the morning after the ball. As stage manager, I was normally in charge of the knocking at the door and ensuring that the correct letters were placed in the correct order on the tray that Cinderella brings in. I had made sure each letter was printed with the correct words from the script for that scene. But let it be a lesson to anyone who uses a crib on stage. Always know the words in your head, because that crib can go missing, and then you've had it. I've seen it happen so many times. On this occasion, the stagehand was first of all late with the knock, so I did the classic, "Did I hear a knock?" And then ensued an ad-lib between us both about how I must be clairvoyant. Then, when the letters arrived, Cinders gave one to me and the other to Patrick. It was clear from his expression they had sent on the wrong letter from another scene. Bless him, Patrick, knowing I would probably know what should have been on it, and with a twinkle in his eye said, "You read this, dear." Naughty, I know, but he wouldn't have done that unless he had confidence in me and knew I'd get us out of this malady.
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind.
Cinderella, will you cease that cacophonous cackle?
Oh, my poor head.
Sorry, Miss Welloff, I just can't help singing. It's such a beautiful day. And New Year, too.
Day? What time is it?
Oh, it's after 10 o'clock.
Cinderella, stop that at once!
Leave that floor. Stop scrubbing it, child. Later on you can lick it clean with your tongue.
Anyway, what have you got to be so cheerful about? Don't forget, my dear, you missed the royal ball. Nah.
Oh, yes, you did, didn't you? Were you happy here, mooning alone last night, dear, in this cavernous kitchen? Ah! You'll pay for that, I tell you now.
Trust you ladies enjoyed the ball last night.
Oh, yes. Of course, I was the centre of attention, you know. The minute the prince saw me, he said, "That's the girl for me." Danced with me the entire evening.
Only when he wasn't dancing with me.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, sister. You know very well he was dancing
He was dancing with me. As soon as
He was dancing with me, you know that.
Did I hear the front door?
Pardon?
I think I heard the front door.
No, I didn't hear anything.
I certainly did. There it goes,
Ah,
yes.
you did! You've got telepathic
I know.
ears. Yes.
I'm clairvoyant. What's that knocking?
Just
Well,
the postman.
Just the postman. Some of them are very attractive.
There's one for you ladies, and there's one for Daddy.
I'll take that, my dear.
But that's addressed to Daddy.
The Baron has no secrets from me. What's it say, sister?
Well, with your telepathic ears, you ought to have a telepathic mind as well, dear. Now, well, I'll tell you this much, that I can't tell till I've got my glasses on, because without knowing what it is, I won't know, will I, you see? Now, oh, it's from Russia.
With love?
Yes, it's got little hammers and sickles all over
That's
it.
lovely.
Yes, and, now wait a minute. This is very interesting.
Yes.
You read it, dear, and I'll read yours.
Oh, no.
Can I have yours?
Yes, you most certainly can. I think you'd better. Sister,
Yeah.
listen to this. It's
What?
about our investments, dear.
Really?
Our investments, yes. Dear ladies, I regret to inform you that due to the recent economical crisis in Russia, the value of your shares has crashed to zero.
Zero! And I'm repeating everything you're saying, aren't I? I'm sorry, dear. Yes, I
There we
realize
are.
that.
Signed, Doris.
It's signed by Doris herself.
Yes, Doris.
Yeltsin.
Doris Yeltsin.
Yes. Well, Doris and I were like that, you know.
Oh, sister.
Both got arthritis. Yes.
Sister.
Oh, yes. Oh, sister.
What are we going to do? No money, no baron.
And as of last night, no prince either.
No, exactly.
You know, that was thanks to that odious little Princess Crystal. I don't know if it's occurred to you, sister, but you might be able to read that on the other side. But you know...
I'll try the other one.
Yes, I wonder what happened to the other one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Scrapped.
yes, you know, she bears a resemblance, this Cinderella here, to the Princess Crystal.
Oh, sister, you're mad.
No.
Sister,
There's
you're
something
right.
very strange.
Look at this one.
What?
To all my subjects,
Yes.
today at noon, His Royal Highness Prince William will visit all the houses in his kingdom in search of the mysterious lady who stole his heart at the royal ball last night.
What?
Listen, sister.
Yes. You know, I heard it. Yeah, I heard it. Yes. This is our last opportunity, sister. Our last opportunity to get a husband. And not just any ordinary husband, but a rich and titled one, too. Yes. Now, one of us must get him. It doesn't matter which, as long as one of us does, dear. And I think just to make sure that little Miss Kitchen Wench there doesn't get her eyes on him, you know what I mean.
Good
Not-
idea.
not-
Cinderella.
Cinderella, dear. Come here.
Cinderella. Now.
You see? You can tell nobody likes her.
No.
Yeah.
We want you to go to our rooms. Go to our rooms.
Yes.
Run our baths.
Yes.
Plug in the curling tongs.
Into the gas, because we're not electric yet.
Yes.
Yes.
Lay out our makeup and gowns. Our
Yes.
most glamorous gowns.
Yes. And hurry up, child. Royalty demands it. Off you
must.
go. Yes. Stupid girl.
After the show, Michael came round backstage and was thrilled to meet Patrick after all these years. We asked him to come for a drink with us, but always the professional, He felt he should rest his voice and take it easy. The run ended very happily 2 weeks later in mid-January. I was next to see them both in their own show 12 months later in Chesham, just before I tackled my first Mother Goose. I was billed as the roller skating dame. At the end of their show, they gave our panto a plug, and Hilda said, "It should have been starring the roller skating dame. Unfortunately, the skates were loose and she's run into the wall." A very happy memory, and one which was pure fate.
The slipper was found. True love won the day.
Cinderella's my bride, I'm happy to say.
My little butterfly now does her magic just for me.
I said our tale was special. I hope you all agree.
My plans have been thwarted. I'm feeling forlorn.
So good night, Eastbourne. Yeah.